Mr. Frimpong, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
It's good to have you here.
Thank you.
I know you're going to give us some background to the Bawku conflict. Yes, indeed.
Yes.
So, yes, the floor is yours. What's on your mind this morning?
Thank you. Yes, the Bawku conflict. First of all, let me say that the Bawku is the town, in fact, the most northeastern municipality in Ghana, and enjoys 3 diverse cultures, and everybody otherwise would have wished to be at Bawku as a trader, and for that matter as a tourist. First of all, to the eastern side of Bawku is the Togo border, and Togo was colonized by the Germans. So they have that German culture, borrowed to Ghanaians through Bawku. Then immediately up there, northernmost is Burkina Faso, which is French, and so it gives us a borrow of a French culture. And then Bawku itself being English colonized like the rest of the Gold Coast. So it's a very nice place, highly commercialized. Unfortunately, there's one thing that draws Bawku back. And because of Bawku, those who have studied conflict management can say that when you go to Nigeria, we have rebel activities. You go to Sierra Leone, Liberia, Ivory Coast, full-blown civil wars ever happened there. And then in the case of Ghana, and I'm saying because of Bawku, we talk of communal violence. It is my prayer that, as Doctor was saying, the year is soon to come to the middle. Before the end of the year, let us see a conflict-free Bawku, that Ghana would 100% be an oasis of peace in the sub-region. Now, how did the trouble come about? Let's go to the genesis. According to R.S. Rattray, the trouble in the area originates from land ownership or allodial ownership of land or chieftaincy. These two that bring trouble to areas in particular in the north. And when it comes to chieftaincy, succession to chieftaincy and land ownership, the landmark has always been who came first. And almost all historians, anthropologists, sociologists agree that it was the Kusaasis people who came first. In fact, I should have said, or I should have begun by saying that in the Bawku area, the most dominant ethnic group is the Kusaasis. And then the Mamprusi are a very small minority. In fact, originally they were from Nalerugu, and that means the Mamprusi area, the capital of which is Nalerugu, under the Nairi of Mamprugu. Now these people, living the Kusaasis to the Mamprusi, these people originated from a very ancient ancestor called Na Bewa. Na Bewa, we are talking from either the Lake Chad area or Zamfara in the northern Nigeria, and settled along Pusega area in Ghana. After Na Bewa came his 3 sons, who founded the Mole Dabani kingdom, one of which is Sitobu. Sitobu founded the Dagomba kingdom, and then Tohugo founded the Mamprusi kingdom, and then the other one, the Nanumba, which was founded by Matumbu. Now, these people remained where they were until we are told that in the 17th century, the Kusaasis people, who were Anacephalous people, Anacephalous society, were threatened by the Buzangas from Burkina Faso. Before I proceed, let me explain the meaning of acephalous society. An acephalous society is a decentralized society, a society that is not organized under one centralized chief, as we have in Ashanti especially. Those who have read Things Fall Apart will know that the Igbos were Anacephalous people. Whenever there was trouble, Okonkwo and his people would come together, ward off the trouble. After that, everybody would retreat to their compounds, and no one would hurt somebody. Everybody was a champion of the compound. In the case of the Kusaasis, it was the same, led by the Tindana. The Tindana was the spiritual head of the land, and all that he did was that with the assistance of the family heads, he would pour libation and then consult the land gods. So always they were revered in that manner. But his influence did not get to ruling or controlling anybody until, as I have said, in the 17th century when they were threatened, Natabia, the Nairi Natabia, brought in troops to assist the Kusaasis people. Having assisted them, they felt they had to stay. And so they stationed garrisons in places that Tanja, in Bawku, and then Bindiri, all in the same environment. This helped them to augment trade, to protect the people, and to streamline communication between Bawku and Nalerugu. Soon the Nairi started sending in his sons, princes, to rule the Bawku area. It didn't bother initially. It didn't bother the Kusaasis people because they felt that they were Cephalous. They didn't care about who was the chief. And then the Mamprisis also restricted their chieftaincy to their own subjects who were trading there. So this was a pre-colonial era, and nobody had a qualm with anyone. So the relationship was not a master-servant. It's like somebody who are giving you land to stay, and then you protect him against external aggression. Then when in 1900 the British entered the place, first of all, they sought to do direct rule for about 30 years. And the Kusaasis people did not like it because, as I have said, they did not, all those who belong to Acephalous societies fear overlordship. You know, they hate it because it's alien to them. So the British from 1931 decided to organize all these groups under one centralized authority, reminding themselves of their own monarchy back home. And then also, as we all know, the indirect rule system that you govern the people through their own leaders. And because they could not find leaders among the Kusaasis, they felt that the most centralized people were the Mamprisi people, so they should govern them. This was not something they would like. Those of us who have studied a little history will know that the Igbos were treated that way. The Igbos didn't know chieftaincy, and the British imposed warrant chiefs upon them, and it led to so many deaths. That was the same thing that happened here. They imposed the Mamprisis upon the Kusaasis, and this continued for as long as the British ruled the country. To a very high extent, a research showed that a section of the Kusaasis people liked the idea because before the Mamprisis in Bawku were made their overlords, they were directly paying tribute to the Nairi in Nalerugu. Look at the journey and look at the heavy amount you needed to pay. And because of his deep influence, or every now and then, either he had a funeral or visitors and you needed to contribute. But this one is living together with you, and his influence wasn't much. Still, they felt they should have been left on their own. Then 1957 comes. Now, in the run-up to independence, we have two major parties. In the north, the first political party to be formed was the Northern People's Party, which later joined the National Liberation Movement to form the UP, United Party. You would know that because the UP came from the Ashanti Royal House, and the Ashantis have a direct relationship with the Moli Dabani people, the Mamprisi would align with the United Party. And because the Kusaasis were Acephalous, mass-oriented, naturally they will go to the CPP. Now, after independence, the Nkrumah government set up the Afari Commission, to go into the whole chieftaincy system of the Kusaasis Nanumba people, to find out whether the Kusaasis were to be encouraged to have their own chiefs so that they will move from an acephalous society to a chieftaincy society. They govern their own selves, or to make the new overlords, the latecomers, to govern them. The Afari Commission said no, the earlier was better, because these people did not come to conquer the Kusaasi people. They were just invited. And so therefore, if you are a chief, go to Nararugu, or when you are staying there, then the owners of the land should rule. These people were not satisfied. The Mamprisi was satisfied and brought an action at the High Court and won. And when the case went on appeal, the decision was overturned. And at that time, the Court of Appeal was the highest court of the land. So the highest court of the land having spoken, everybody was quiet and there was peace. I won't say relative peace. Peace. Because it wasn't a politician that has spoken, but the highest court of the land, the judicial. Now comes 1966. Immediately after the coup, Na Azoka, the first, the Kusaasi chief, the paramount chief, was deposed under NLCD 112. And it means that this NLCD 112 kicked against, do I say, if today we say Supreme Court decision. It kicked against it, it killed it completely. And so all that the Kusaasis would do would just to wait until there had been a political change. So you see that it was from 1966, actually, that the whole conflict assumed a political nature. Then in 1983, the Kusaasis were able to lobby the PNDC government to pass the PNDC Law 75, which resurrected the Court of Appeal decision of 1958. So the paramount chief belonging to Mamprisi group, Adam Azomyogo, was distilled. And then the son of the late Azoka, who was Azoka II, was skinned. Sorry, let me put it very well. The late Azoka I was posthumously recognized as the lawful paramount chief of the area, because PNDC Law 75 had also come to repeal NLCD 112. And as we are saying, posthumous, because he was dead, his son had to ascend the throne. And so from that day up to date, the conflict had been a political one. And then, as we have said, the new patriotic party is strictly followed and supported by the Mamprisi people. And then the National Democratic Congress, their people are the Kusaasi. And so if anybody would want peace in the area, I believe we have to start from the political top. Organize seminars for them, and then let them know that politics is not about the division of our people. It's not about intrusion into chieftaincy, but it is about proper governance, democracy. Help the people to develop themselves. Let the people know that whether you are Mamprisi, Kusaasi, Ashanti, Ewe, Nzima, Fanti, we come together to form that entity called Ghana. And I believe when you kill somebody because someone wants to be a chief, I mean, it can never be fair and it can never be supported anywhere. At the end of the day, let us wish that there will be peace and absolute peace in the Bawku area.
Thank you so much.